I stared at the package on my kitchen counter, my heart racing. The return address was unfamiliar, but the handwriting, I'd seen it before. With trembling fingers, I tore open the padded envelope and a bundle of yellowed letters spilled out onto the granite. "Molly, what's that?" Jake's voice startled me as he walked in, loosening his tie. I snatched up the letters, clutching them to my chest. "Nothing, honey, just some old papers." Jake raised an eyebrow but didn't press. "All right. Hey, did you hear from Mom? She wants us over for dinner this weekend." My stomach clenched. "Again? We just saw her last week." "Come on, Moll. She's lonely since she moved here. It won't kill us to spend time with her." I forced a smile. "Of course. You're right." As soon as Jake headed upstairs to change, I retreated to our home office, locking the door behind me. With shaking hands, I spread the letters across the desk. The first one was dated nearly 40 years ago. I recognized the signature at the bottom, Sarah, Clara's best friend from college. My mother-in-law's name jumped out at me repeatedly as I skimmed the contents. "Oh, Clara," one passage read, "I know you think you're doing what's best, but manipulating Tom like that, it's not right. He deserves to know the truth about the baby." My breath caught. What baby? What truth? I dove into the next letter, my eyes widening with each revelation. Clara's web of lies and manipulation stretched back decades, ensnaring everyone around her. A sharp knock made me jump. "Molly? You okay in there?" Jake called through the door. "Fine," I squeaked, hastily gathering the letters. "Just finishing up some work." "Well, come on out. I ordered pizza." I shoved the letters into my desk drawer and took a deep breath. How could I face Jake now, knowing what I knew about his mother? In the kitchen, Jake was pulling plates from the cabinet. "So I was thinking," he said casually, "maybe we should invite Derek over this weekend too. He's been kind of down lately." I nearly dropped the glass I was holding. "Your brother? Why?" Jake shrugged. "Mom mentioned he's been having a hard time. Thought it might cheer him up." "Jake," I said carefully, "don't you think it's a little odd how involved your mother is in Derek's life? I mean, he's a grown man." "What are you talking about?" Jake's brow furrowed. "She's just being supportive." I bit my lip, choosing my words carefully. "I know, but sometimes it seems like she's a little too involved, like she's trying to control things." Jake's eyes narrowed. "What's going on, Molly? You've been acting weird all night?" The doorbell rang, saving me from having to answer. As Jake went to get the pizza, I leaned against the counter, my mind racing. How could I tell him what I'd discovered without destroying his relationship with his mother? Jake returned, setting the pizza box on the island. "All right, spill it. What's really bothering you?" I took a deep breath. "Jake, I received some letters today from your mom's old friend, Sarah." His eyebrows shot up. "Sarah? I haven't heard that name in years. What did she want?" "It's not what she wants," I said slowly. "It's what she revealed about your mom." Jake's face darkened. "What are you talking about?" Before I could answer, a car door slammed outside. Through the kitchen window, I saw Clara marching up our driveway, Derek trailing behind her. "Oh no," I whispered. Jake frowned. "Is that Mom? What's she doing here?" As if on cue, Clara's voice rang out, accompanied by insistent knocking. "Jake? Molly? Open up. We need to talk." I met Jake's confused gaze, my heart pounding. Whatever Clara wanted, I had a sinking feeling it was about to change everything. I opened the door, plastering on a smile as Clara bustled past me, Derek shuffling in behind her. The scent of her cloying perfume filled our entryway. "Mom? Derek? What's going on?" Jake asked, confusion etched on his face. Clara beamed, patting Jake's cheek. "Oh, sweetie, we have the most wonderful surprise for you." My stomach churned. I caught Derek's eye, but he quickly looked away, fidgeting with his shirt cuff. "Molly, dear," Clara cooed, turning to me. "Be a lamb and fetch us some drinks, won't you? We have so much to discuss." Before I could respond, Jake intervened. "Mom, what's this about? We were just sitting down to dinner." Clara waved her hand dismissively. "This is far more important than pizza, darling. Now let's all sit down." As we settled in the living room, I couldn't shake the feeling of dread creeping up my spine. Clara perched on the edge of the sofa, practically vibrating with excitement. "Jake, honey," she began, "Derek and I have been talking, and we've come to a decision. We think it's time for us to move in with you and Molly." The room fell silent. I gripped the armrest of my chair, knuckles turning white. Jake blinked, clearly stunned. "Move in? But why? You just got settled in your new place." Clara's smile faltered for a moment. "Well, it's just so lonely there, and with Derek between jobs, it only makes sense for us to combine our resources." I couldn't stay silent any longer. "Clara, I'm not sure that's... Oh, Molly, she interrupted, her tone sickeningly sweet. I know you must be thrilled. Just think of all the help you'll have around the house. And Jake, darling, won't it be wonderful to have your family close? Jake ran a hand through his hair, looking overwhelmed. I don't know, Mom. This is a big decision. Molly and I need to discuss it. Clara's eyes narrowed almost imperceptibly. Discuss it? But Jake, we're family. Surely Molly understands how important family is. I felt a surge of anger. Of course I understand, Clara, but this is our home and... Exactly. Clara clapped her hands together. Our home. One big, happy family under one roof. Derek finally spoke up, his voice quiet. It'll be great, Jake. Just like old times. I stood abruptly. Excuse me, I need some air. As I stepped onto the back porch, I heard Clara's voice floating through the open window. Poor Molly. She seems so stressed lately. Jake, have you noticed how moody she's been? My blood boiled. This was it. Clara's plan to drive a wedge between Jake and me. I peeked back inside, watching Jake's face as his mother continued her subtle assault on our marriage. You work so hard, sweetheart, Clara cooed. You deserve someone who appreciates that, someone who puts family first. I'd heard enough. Storming back inside, I confronted Clara. That's enough. I know what you're doing, and it stops now. Clara's eyes widened in feigned innocence. Molly, whatever do you mean? Jake stood, placing a hand on my arm. Moll, calm down. What's going on? I took a deep breath, steeling myself. Jake, your mother is trying to manipulate you. She's been doing it for years, and now she's targeting our marriage. The room erupted into chaos. Clara gasped dramatically, clutching her chest. Derek jumped to her defense, shouting about family loyalty. And Jake just stood there, looking lost. How dare you? Clara hissed, dropping her sweet facade. After everything I've done for this family, I turned to Jake, my heart pounding. Remember those letters I mentioned? They prove everything. Your mother has been lying and manipulating people for decades. Jake's face paled. He looked from me to his mother, confusion and hurt battling in his eyes. Clara's voice turned cold. Jake, darling, you can't possibly believe these ridiculous accusations. It's clear Molly is unstable. Perhaps it's time to reconsider some things. As Jake struggled to process everything, I realized with sinking clarity that this was only the beginning. Clara had declared war, and our family was the battlefield. The tension in our house was suffocating. After Clara and Derek's dramatic exit last night, Jake had retreated to his study, leaving me alone with my churning thoughts. I'd barely slept, replaying the confrontation over and over in my mind. As morning light filtered through the curtains, I heard Jake's footsteps in the hallway. I braced myself, unsure of what to expect. He appeared in the doorway looking as exhausted as I felt. Molly, we need to talk. I nodded, my throat tight. I know. We sat at the kitchen table, 2 mugs of untouched coffee between us. Jake ran a hand through his disheveled hair. I've been up all night, thinking about what you said. About Mom, about the letters. And? I prompted, my heart racing. Jake met my eyes, his gaze conflicted. I need to see them, Moll. The letters. I need to know the truth. Without a word, I retrieved the bundle from my desk drawer. As Jake read, his face cycled through a range of emotions. Disbelief, anger, hurt. When he finally looked up, his eyes were glistening. I can't believe it, he whispered. All these years. How could she do this? I reached across the table, squeezing his hand. I'm so sorry, Jake. I know how much this must hurt. He shook his head, a bitter laugh escaping. You know what the worst part is? Deep down, I'm not even surprised. There's always been something off about Mom's behavior. I just never wanted to see it. A knock at the door made us both jump. Jake tensed. If that's her. I'll handle it, I said, standing. To my surprise, it was Derek on our doorstep, looking haggard and nervous. Molly, I need to talk to Jake, please. I hesitated, then called over my shoulder. Jake? It's Derek. Jake appeared behind me, his expression guarded. What do you want, Derek? Derek's eyes darted between us. Can I come in? There's something you need to know. Once inside, Derek paced our living room, wringing his hands. I couldn't sleep last night. What Molly said about Mom manipulating us. She's right, Jake. Jake's jaw clenched. What are you talking about? Derek took a shaky breath. Mom's been lying to me for months. She told me you were planning to sell the family business, that you were going to cut me out completely. She said the only way to protect myself was to move in here, to keep an eye on things. I gasped. Derek, that's ridiculous. We would never... I know that now, Derek interrupted. But Mom can be very convincing. She played on all my insecurities, all my fears about being the screw-up brother. Jake's voice was low, dangerous. Why are you telling us this now? Derek's shoulders slumped. Because I'm tired, Jake. Tired of the lies, tired of being her puppet. And I found something. He pulled out a crumpled envelope, handing it to Jake. This was mixed in with some of Mom's papers. I think you need to see it. Jake's hands shook as he unfolded the document. His eyes widened as he scanned the contents. This is Uncle Robert's will, but he died years ago. Why would Mom have this? I peered over Jake's shoulder, my breath catching as I read the key line. To my nephew, Jacob, I leave my entire estate. Oh my God, I whispered. Jake, your uncle left you everything. But why didn't we know about this? Derek's voice was hollow. Because Mom hid it. She's been managing Uncle Robert's estate all this time, using the money for herself. The room spun around me as the implications sank in. Clara hadn't just been manipulating our emotions, she'd been stealing from her own son for years. Jake crumpled the paper in his fist, his face a mask of fury. I'm going to confront her, right now. As he stormed towards the door, I called out, Jake, wait! But he was already gone, the door slamming behind him. I turned to Derek, my heart pounding. We have to go after him. There's no telling what Clara will do when she's cornered. Derek nodded grimly. You're right, let's go. As we raced to the car, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were hurtling towards a confrontation that would change our family forever. Derek and I raced to Clara's house, my knuckles white on the steering wheel. As we pulled up, I saw Jake's car haphazardly parked in the driveway. They're here, I muttered, my stomach churning. We rushed to the front door, which stood ajar. The sound of raised voices led us to the living room, where we found Jake and Clara locked in a heated argument. How could you? Jake was shouting, waving the crumpled will. Your own son, Mom. You've been stealing from me for years. Clara's face was a mask of indignation. Stealing? I was protecting you. You weren't ready for that kind of responsibility. I did what any good mother would do. Good mother? Jake scoffed. A good mother doesn't lie and manipulate her children. Clara's eyes narrowed as she spotted Derek and me in the doorway. Well, the gang's all here. Come to gang up on poor old Mom, have you? I stepped forward, my voice steady despite my racing heart. Clara, it's over. We know everything. The lies, the manipulation, the stolen inheritance. It's time to come clean. For a moment, something like fear flashed in Clara's eyes. Then her expression hardened. You ungrateful little witch. I welcomed you into this family, and this is how you repay me? By turning my own sons against me? Don't you dare blame Molly for this, Jake growled. This is all on you, Mom. Clara's laugh was cold and bitter. Oh, Jake, always so naive. Do you really think your precious Molly is as innocent as she seems? Why don't you ask her about the little chat we had last week? My blood ran cold. Jake turned to me, confusion etched on his face. Molly? What's she talking about? I swallowed hard. Jake, Clara came to see me while you were at work. She offered me money to leave you. Jake's eyes widened in disbelief. What? Why didn't you tell me? I wanted to protect you, I whispered. I thought I could handle it on my own. Clara's triumphant smile made my skin crawl. You see, Jake, she's been keeping secrets too. How can you trust her? That's enough. Derek's voice cut through the tension. Mom, stop trying to manipulate everyone. It's over. Clara rounded on Derek, her voice dripping with venom. You ungrateful boy, after everything I've done for you, you'd be nothing without me. As Clara continued her tirade, I noticed Jake's shoulders slumping, the fight draining out of him. I knew I had to act fast. Clara, I said firmly, we're done here. Jake, Derek, let's go. We have a lot to discuss, but not here. Not with her. Clara's eyes flashed dangerously. You're not going anywhere. This is a family matter, and we're going to settle it now. She strode to the desk in the corner, yanking open a drawer. My heart stopped as she pulled out a small handgun. Mom, what are you doing? Derek gasped. Clara's hand shook as she pointed the gun at me. I will not let you destroy this family, Molly. I've worked too hard, sacrificed too much. Time seemed to slow down. I saw Jake lunge towards his mother, heard Derek's shout of alarm, but all I could focus on was Clara's finger tightening on the trigger. In that moment, I knew I had a choice to make. I could run, try to save myself, or I could stand my ground and fight for the family I loved. Taking a deep breath, I looked Clara in the eye. Go ahead, Clara, shoot me if you think that will solve anything, but know this, you've already lost. Your lies, your manipulation, it's all out in the open now. Pulling that trigger will only prove how far you've fallen. As we stood there, locked in a tense standoff, I silently prayed I'd made the right decision. Whatever happened next would change our lives forever. The room seemed to freeze as Clara's finger hovered over the trigger. Jake and Derek stood paralyzed, their eyes darting between their mother and me. In that moment of terrifying stillness, a sharp knock at the front door shattered the tension. "Police, open up!" Clara's hand trembled, the gun wavering. Jake seized the opportunity, lunging forward and wresting the weapon from his mother's grasp. As he secured the gun, I rushed to open the door. 2 officers stood on the porch, their expressions grim. "We received a report of a disturbance," one said, eyeing me suspiciously. "Thank God you're here," I breathed, ushering them inside. "My mother-in-law just threatened us with a gun." The next hour passed in a blur of statements and questions. As the police escorted Clara out in handcuffs, her venomous glare bore into me. "This isn't over, Molly," she hissed. "You'll regret this." Once the commotion died down, Jake, Derek, and I sat in stunned silence. The weight of everything that had transpired settled heavily upon us. "I can't believe she actually pulled a gun," Derek muttered, shaking his head. Jake's voice was hollow. "I can. After everything we've learned, nothing about her surprises me anymore." I reached for Jake's hand, relieved when he didn't pull away. "What do we do now?" Before he could answer, my phone buzzed with a text. It was from an unknown number, but the message made my blood run cold. "Check the attic." "S? S?" Jake asked, reading over my shoulder. "Sarah?" "The one who sent the letters." I nodded, a mix of curiosity and dread building in my chest. "I think we need to do what it says." We climbed the narrow stairs to Clara's attic, the musty air thick with secrets. Boxes and old furniture crowded the space, decades of memories gathering dust. "What exactly are we looking for?" Derek asked, scanning the cluttered room. "I'm not sure," I admitted. "But it must be important if Sarah risked contacting me again." As we searched, Jake called out from a far corner. "Guys, I think I found something." He emerged from behind a stack of boxes, holding a battered leather briefcase. The lock was rusted, but it gave way easily to Jake's determined hands. Inside, we found a treasure trove of documents, old photos, letters, and legal papers. But it was a thick manila envelope that caught my eye. With trembling fingers, I opened it and began to read. "Oh my God," I whispered, my voice shaking. "Jake, this changes everything." Jake and Derek crowded around me, their eyes widening as they scanned the documents. "It can't be," Jake breathed. "All this time." The papers revealed a shocking truth. Jake wasn't Clara's biological son. He had been adopted as an infant, a fact Clara had kept hidden for over 40 years. But that wasn't all. Jake's real parents were none other than Clara's sister and her husband, who had died in a car accident shortly after Jake's birth. "She's been lying to me my entire life," Jake said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Why? Why would she keep this from me?" As we dug deeper, the reason became clear. Jake's biological parents had left behind a substantial inheritance, one that Clara had been secretly managing and siphoning from for years. Derek slumped against a dusty armchair. "I can't believe this. Our whole lives have been built on lies." I turned to Jake, my heart breaking at the pain etched across his face. "I'm so sorry, love. I can't imagine how you must be feeling." Jake's eyes met mine, a storm of emotions swirling in their depths. "What do we do now, Molly? How do we move forward from this?" In that moment, I knew we stood at a crossroads. The truth was out, but its weight threatened to crush us. We could let Clara's lies destroy our family, or we could fight to rebuild on a foundation of honesty and love. Taking a deep breath, I squeezed Jake's hand. "We face it together, all of us. No more secrets, no more lies. It's time to reclaim our lives and our family." As Jake and Derek nodded in agreement, I felt a glimmer of hope. The road ahead would be challenging, but for the first time in years, we were united. Clara's web of deceit was unraveling, and from its ruins we would build something stronger. The days following our discovery in Clara's attic were a whirlwind of emotions and legal consultations. Jake was reeling from the revelation about his adoption, while Derek struggled with his role in Clara's schemes. As for me, I was desperately trying to hold our family together. One evening, as Jake and I sat in tense silence at the kitchen table, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Derek. "Mom's out on bail. She wants to meet. All of us. Tomorrow." I showed Jake the message, watching his face harden. "No," he said firmly. "I can't face her right now." "Jake," I said gently, "maybe we should hear her out. This might be our chance to get answers." He slammed his fist on the table, making me jump. "Answers? Molly, she's lied to me my entire life. What could she possibly say to make this right?" I reached for his hand, relieved when he didn't pull away. "I know, love, but we need to resolve this one way or another, for our family's sake." After a long moment, Jake nodded reluctantly. "Fine. but I'm not promising anything. The next day, we gathered at a neutral location, a small conference room at our lawyer's office. The tension was palpable as Clara walked in, looking smaller and more vulnerable than I'd ever seen her. "Thank you for coming," she began, her voice trembling slightly. "I know I've hurt you all terribly, but I want to make things right." Jake scoffed. "Make things right? By lying some more?" Clara flinched at his tone. "No, Jake, no more lies. I'm here to tell you everything and to ask for your forgiveness." For the next hour, Clara laid bare the twisted web of deceit she'd woven over the years. She spoke of her sister's death, her decision to adopt Jake, and the gradual corruption of her intentions as she managed his inheritance. "I told myself I was protecting you," she said, tears streaming down her face. "But the truth is, I was protecting myself. I couldn't bear the thought of losing you, Jake. You were all I had left of my sister." As Clara's confession unfolded, I watched Jake's expression shift from anger to confusion to a deep, aching sadness. Derek sat silently, his own guilt evident in the slump of his shoulders. Just as it seemed we might be reaching a moment of understanding, the door burst open. A man I didn't recognize stormed in, his face twisted with rage. "So it's true," he spat, glaring at Clara. Clara, you've been stealing from my nephew all these years." Clara paled. "Robert, please?" "Uncle Robert," Jake stood, bewildered. "But we thought you were dead." The man, Jake's Uncle Robert, laughed bitterly. "Oh, I'm very much alive. No thanks to your mother here. She's been telling everyone I was dead while she helped herself to your inheritance." The room erupted into chaos. Robert lunged at Clara. Jake tried to intervene, and Derek called for security. In the midst of the commotion, I noticed Clara slip something from her purse, a small vial. "Stop!" I shouted, but it was too late. Clara had already swallowed the contents. As Clara collapsed convulsing, time seemed to slow down. Jake rushed to his mother's side, all his anger forgotten in the face of this new crisis. Derek called for an ambulance, his voice shaking with panic. I stood frozen, watching the scene unfold like a horrible dream. How had we come to this? In trying to uncover the truth and protect our family, had we pushed Clara to this desperate act? As the paramedics arrived and whisked Clara away, Jake turned to me, his eyes wild with a mix of anger and despair. "Are you happy now, Molly? Is this what you wanted when you started digging into the past?" His words hit me like a physical blow. In that moment, I realized our marriage was hanging by a thread. Everything I'd fought so hard to protect was crumbling around me. As Jake rushed off to follow the ambulance, leaving me behind, I knew I had a choice to make. I could let this destroy us, or I could find a way to save our family, even if it meant taking drastic measures. With a deep breath, I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I'd hoped never to use. "Sarah? It's Molly. I need your help. It's time to end this once and for all." I paced the hospital waiting room, my heart racing. Clara had survived her suicide attempt, but the damage to our family seemed irreparable. Jake hadn't spoken to me since we arrived, his eyes fixed on the ICU doors. Sarah's voice echoed in my mind, reminding me of our plan. It was risky, potentially destructive, but I saw no other way to save my marriage and protect Jake from further manipulation. "Jake," I said softly, approaching him. "We need to talk." He looked up, his eyes hollow. "What's left to say, Molly?" I took a deep breath. "There's something you need to see, something that will explain everything." Reluctantly, Jake followed me to a small conference room where Sarah waited. Her presence visibly startled him. "What's going on?" he demanded. Sarah spoke first. "Jake, I'm sorry for my part in all this, but it's time you knew the whole truth." She produced a laptop, pulling up a series of video files. Clara didn't know I kept these. They're recordings of our conversations over the years. As we watched, Clara's true nature unfolded before us. Video after video showed her gleefully recounting her manipulations, her plans to control Jake and Derek, her disdain for me. "I'll never let that little witch take my boys from me," Clara's voice sneered from the screen. "Jake's inheritance is mine. I earned it, dealing with that brat all these years." Jake's face paled, his hands clenching into fists. "Turn it off," he whispered. But there was more. Sarah pulled out a stack of financial documents. "Clara's been embezzling from Jake's inheritance for years. She's got accounts hidden all over the world." As Jake sifted through the papers, his expression hardened. "How long have you known about this, Molly?" "I only got the full picture recently," I admitted. "I wanted to be sure before I told you. I'm so sorry, Jake." Before he could respond, Derek burst into the room. "Mom's awake. She's asking for you, Jake." Jake stood, his face a mask of conflicting emotions. "I need to see her," Wait, I pleaded. There's one more thing you need to know. I explained our plan to confront Clara with all the evidence, to force her to admit her deceptions in front of everyone. It was a gamble, but it might be our only chance to break her hold on Jake once and for all. Jake listened silently, then nodded. Let's finish this. We entered Clara's room, where she lay pale and fragile-looking. Her eyes widened as she saw us all together. Jake, sweetheart, she began, her voice weak. Save it, Mom, Jake cut her off. We know everything. What followed was an hour of brutal honesty. We laid out all the evidence, the videos, the financial records, the years of lies. Clara tried to deny it at first, but faced with irrefutable proof, her facade crumbled. You don't understand, she sobbed. I did it all for you, Jake. To protect you. Protect me? Jake's voice shook with anger. You stole from me. You lied to me my entire life. You tried to destroy my marriage. Clara's eyes darted around the room, looking for an ally. Finding none, she lashed out. It's all her fault, she shrieked, pointing at me. She turned you against me. She's trying to steal you away. I felt Jake stiffen beside me. This was the moment of truth. Would he believe Clara's desperate lies, or would he finally see the truth? Jake took my hand, squeezing it tightly. No, Mom. Molly's the one who showed me the truth. She's the one who's been protecting me from you. Clara's face contorted with rage. With surprising strength, she lunged from the bed, her hands outstretched towards me. You little witch, I'll kill you. Everything happened in a blur. Jake shielding me, nurses rushing in, Clara being restrained and sedated. As they wheeled Clara away, Jake turned to me, his eyes filled with a mixture of pain and clarity. It's over, he said softly. She can't hurt us anymore. I nodded, relief washing over me. But as I looked at Jake's haunted expression, I realized the battle might be won, but the war was far from over. Our family was shattered, and I wasn't sure if all the pieces could ever be put back together. The weeks following Clara's hospitalization were a blur of legal meetings, therapy sessions, and tense family discussions. Jake and I tiptoed around each other, the weight of everything that had happened creating a chasm between us. One crisp autumn morning, as I sat on our porch, nursing a cup of coffee, Jake joined me. The silence stretched between us until he finally spoke. I've made a decision, Molly. He said, his voice quiet but firm. I'm cutting ties with Mom, completely. I turned to him, searching his face. Are you sure? Jake, she's still your mother. He shook his head, a mix of sadness and determination in his eyes. No, she's not. Not really. A real mother wouldn't have done what she did. I can't let her poison our lives anymore. Relief washed over me, followed quickly by guilt. What about Derek? Jake sighed. He's sticking by her, even now. I can't save him if he doesn't want to be saved. As if summoned by our conversation, Derek's car pulled into our driveway. He approached us slowly, looking haggard and uncertain. Jake, Molly, he nodded. I need to talk to you both. We listened as Derek poured out his heart, admitting his role in Clara's schemes and begging for forgiveness. As he spoke, I saw the brother Jake had always wanted Derek to be. Honest, vulnerable, and genuinely remorseful. Jake stood, pulling Derek into a tight embrace. It's okay, bro, he murmured. We'll get through this together. Watching them, I felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe our family wasn't beyond saving after all. The final showdown came a month later. Clara, now out of the hospital and facing criminal charges, demanded a family meeting. Against my better judgment, we agreed. As we gathered in our living room, the tension was palpable. Clara sat ramrod straight, her eyes darting between us. I've called you here to make amends, she began, her voice trembling slightly. I know I've made mistakes, but... Mistakes? Jake interrupted, his tone icy. You call what you did mistakes? Clara flinched. I only wanted what was best for you, Jake, for all of us. No, I said, finding my voice. You wanted what was best for you, Clara. You've manipulated and lied to all of us for years. It stops now. Clara's facade cracked. You ungrateful little witch, she spat. After everything I've done for this family. Enough! Jake roared, startling us all. Mom, I want you out of our lives. For good. The lawyers will handle the rest of the inheritance issues. We're done. Clara's face crumpled. For a moment I saw a flicker of the scared, lonely woman behind the manipulative mask, but then her eyes hardened. Fine, she hissed. But mark my words, you'll regret this. All of you. As Clara stormed out, slamming the door behind her, a heavy silence fell over the room. Then, to my surprise, Derek started to laugh. It was a nervous, slightly hysterical sound, but soon Jake joined in, and then me. We laughed until tears streamed down our faces, years of tension and fear finally releasing. As our laughter subsided, Jake pulled me close, pressing a kiss to my forehead. I'm so sorry, Molly, he whispered, for everything. Can you ever forgive me? I looked up at him, seeing the man I fell in love with shining through once more. There's nothing to forgive, I said softly. We're in this together, remember? Derek cleared his throat. So what now? Jake smiled, a real, genuine smile that reached his eyes. Now we heal, we rebuild, together. As we sat there, the three of us planning our future, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but for the first time in years, I had hope. Clara's reign of manipulation was over. She had tried to tear us apart, but in the end, her actions had only made us stronger. We were free to love, to trust, and to be the family we were always meant to be. Looking at Jake and Derek, I knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, we would face them as a united front. The wounds of the past would heal, and from the ashes of Clara's destruction, a new, stronger family would rise. As the sun set outside our window, casting a warm glow over our living room, I smiled. The future was ours to shape, and I couldn't wait to see what it held.